Hello, you're watching World Talks on TVP World. My name is Sascha Fahrbach. Preparations are already underway for Pope Leo XIV's planned visit to Poland, potentially in 2028, with Poland's foreign ministry and the Polish Bishops' Conference beginning coordination, even as the Vatican says the final itinerary is yet to be confirmed. Now, the announcement comes as the first American Pope continues to shape his global message, with the legacy of St. Francis of Assisi, calling on young people to reject division, embrace peace, protect creation, and build what he describes as a civilization of love. Joining us now to discuss all the latest is Father Stanisław Tasiemski, Vice President, Catholic Information Agency. A very warm welcome to you in the studio here.
Good morning.
So it's still some time away. Different sources telling us about 2028, an official trip of the Pontiff to Poland. This is quite significant. First of all, why this long preparation period? Might it be sooner, and what kind of significance does it have for Poland and the Church?
It is very natural that the Church in Poland is one of the very important in the regional, local churches. So it is what we are awaiting. Surely many were expecting, even President Nawrocki, that the visit may be sooner, 27, because it is 150th anniversary of apparitions in Gieczwałt. In Warmia, it means a very important place for religion, for religious, but also national awakening during the partition of Poland. So we precisely don't know what the visit might be. It is perhaps too early to say. But the Church in Poland is awaiting, and faithful people are awaiting the visit of Pope Francis. Surely Gieczwałt, but we hope also Częstochowa, Jasna Góra, Black Lady, Black Madonna of Częstochowa, surely Warsaw and Kraków. But let's hope, we'll see what it might be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also significant in terms of, as you said, the Catholic faithful, but also in this region will be, not just memorable for Poland, but I think the wider region. Speaking of trips as well, apparently just some days ago, the Vatican apparently said that Pope Leo also has some kind of plans to visit the United States. So I'm just curious about that, and also something that ran, I think, from the New York Times, saying that actually the ambassador from the U.S. to the Papal See, the Holy See, has said they've actually not spoken directly by video message, by phone, text, the President and the Pope. There's been a lot about these two men. What do you think a visit would look like? What would this do between the relations between these two men and these two nations?
Oh, surely there are many points in common between President Trump and Pope Leo, and there are points of differences. The points of common understanding is the protection of human life, and as, for instance, family vision, the vision of man as men and women. So President Trump is also not the one who is embracing gender ideology. He is rather a man of common sense. There are differences. For instance, the problem of migrants entering the United States, the welcoming of migrants. But for Pope Francis, some points may be very familiar, very important. Yes, excuse me. Mm-hmm. For Pope Leo, some points may be very close to his heart, like, for instance, Chicago, the place he was born and where he grew up, or perhaps places important for Augustinian spirituality and activity. It is still something which is perhaps not very clear. We know a bit more about his visit to Latin America, which will be in November, and a visit officially confirmed. So his former diocese, Chiclayo, is preparing for welcoming the Pope.
Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I mean, these two men have had very different views on a lot of policies. You mentioned migration. They couldn't be further apart from each other on how different policies are conducted. If we go back a few months, there was quite an exchange, I mean, especially from President Trump, negative exchange towards the Vatican, towards the Pope. Later defended even by Giorgia Meloni, coming to the side of the Pope. Do you think in any way, I mean, it's too early right now, but is there going to be a kind of reset possible? Would a face-to-face meeting assuage some of that? What do you make of it?
Naturally, it is possible. We have to remember that in the Trump administration, there are many Catholics, including Vice President J.D. Vance, Secretary of State, and many others. So the influence of his entourage perhaps will also help to welcome the Pope. The role of ambassador is also of crucial meaning. I mean, it is the ambassador to the Holy See who is preparing the meeting, topics of the talks which may be taken or of exchange. So surely it is still in a certain future, we don't know precisely if it will be 27, in Pope Leo pontificate, we notice a certain tendency that first local bishops announce that the preparations are already for the Pope's visit, and then official confirmation from the Holy See. In this case, probably it will be the same. First, the local bishops will announce that the Pope Leo is going to visit the United States, and then the Holy See will confirm it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think Pope Leo did exactly say that. He said it would be soon, but as you said, we don't have that final date yet. You mentioned an interesting person, Archbishop Gallagher, Secretary of State for the Vatican, very much about foreign affairs, the key person there. Now, he's recently been to Kiev, and now apparently, through some sources, we hear that there may be a trip on the offing that he may travel to Moscow on August the 20th. Why do you think he's going there right now, and what kind of message does that send? What will he ultimately try to do when he's there?
Surely the diplomacy of the Holy See is always centered on human person. We have to remember that there are many prisoners of war, many people suffering in extreme conditions. And first of all, it is a problem of them, surely as well children, which were deported from occupied territories to the central Russia, or sometimes even to the east of Russia. So this humanitarian problem. There is also a problem of internal scale. I mean, the problem of the Catholic Church in Russia. The Pope has accepted the regulation of Italian Archbishop Paolo Pezzi as Archbishop of Moscow, Catholic Archbishop of Moscow. So the successor on this see is one perhaps of the topics which may be discussed during the visit of Archbishop Gallagher in Moscow.
Mm-hmm. All right, and also in terms of a special occasion, not just I think today, but this whole year, it's 800 years we're marking St. Francis, that he died 800 years ago. Just before we get into it, a little too much detail, but we have also the Pope in Assisi, I think just yesterday, even I think maybe even there still today, preaching a certain type of message. First of all, what do you make of that message, and what, in your mind, is that enduring, let's say, association that we have to St. Francis today that makes him still so appealing compared to the other saints?
St. Francis is a very popular saint. The 800 years of his death, it means that he was born for heaven. It is the tradition in the Catholic Church, we say that the date of death is the entering, the birth for heaven. That's why the whole year is a jubilee year. On these days, there was a meeting of Franciscan youth, of different Franciscan orders, traditions, of young people from different points of the world, from Venezuela to Vietnam. And the message, the meaning was just go. It means the Pope was intending to give courage to young people to involve in establishing peace, to engage in protection of environment, but also to be a new saints for this time. It is, it is a courage. Sometimes also one of the questions of young people was of being involved for the whole year, for the whole life, for instance, in matrimony and familiar life, but also people have fear to involve themselves for the whole life in the service for the church. So the Pope was intending to give courage to young people that in difficult times, every time is a difficult one, they need to have a new courage, personal relationship with Christ, and imitate the saints they cherish.
And also an interesting one, I think he warned young people against the fear fueled by what he calls here the imaginary enemies and also misinformation. So was that also a call to be careful about hybrid attacks and things like this?
Surely, but also very often we notice that we are attacked by too many informations. People are inquiet, or they are very often slaves of their mobile phone and the whole digital world. So the life is the one which is in a real person, in meeting of person between person, not a digital meeting, but a real meeting and real involvement in life.
So still 800 years later, still a relevant saint for many generations to come. Look, thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you very
Father
much.
Stanisław Tasiemski there from the Catholic Information Agency. Thank you. And thank you for watching. That concludes World Talks, but stay right here on TVP World for more. Goodbye.